Hey guys, KN4YRM here, just showing my remote mobile HF station. This is the back seat of my 200,000 mile car where I've set this up, and I'm just showing it to you as is because a lot of times we hesitate on projects thinking everything has to be nice and neat and tidy. But you know what? This was just get her done. I mean, there's my kid's seat. This is just the back seat of the car, which is just sitting in the driveway during COVID. So I turned it into my remote station so I could operate on days when it's like today. We have some thunder, lightning threatening. So I can operate remotely over Wi-Fi, inside the house over Wi-Fi. So I'll show you how this is set up. Now this here is just a piece of pegboard plastic pegboard that I had lying around, and I've sort of mounted stuff to it, sort of not. It's still a work in progress. But here's the radio, FT891. Underneath is a tuner, battery. Now the battery goes here and feeds this distributed fuse box. You can see some of the fuses there, the power poles. This is all 3D printed stuff that I made. You could buy this, you could make this. The general idea is that your battery distributes power to a bunch of places, and it's all fused, and that's where things are getting power from. And I'll tell you what those things are. Obviously the radio, and the radio's already got its own fuses. Now it's got fuses from the fuse block. Everything's fused. Fantastic. The next thing in line here is this. This is a boost buck converter I had lying around. I tried a 12 volt to 5 volt converter that I bought off Amazon. It was really noisy RFI, like it was sending the signal on the radio here from a normal S0 or S1 all the way up to S9. Really bad day with that. So I found this in my drawer. Hadn't used it for other projects. It was lying around, but it can easily convert the 12 or 13 volts coming from the battery into 5 volts for the Raspberry Pi and other stuff I'll talk about in a second. And it can handle up to 5 amps. Raspberry Pi draws about 3. My other stuff probably like 1, or 2 maybe, but so that's all good. All right, so this boost buck goes to this little USB power hub that I made myself with some jacks ahead and PCB board, and a little 3D printed it, and I just zip tied it down to the pegboard. Okay, and the Raspberry Pi plugs into that, and that's where it gets its 5 volt power from. The Raspberry Pi case, kind of my own design. It's got two 12 volt fans, and the Raspberry Pi controls a relay using GPIO pins and a little script I created so that it can turn the fans on and off. I don't know why I thought that would be useful. It's not really at all. The fans should just be always running. But I guess if I wanted to remotely turn off the fans for some reason, I could. In any case, the fans are 12 volt fans, so they're getting their power off of one of these power pole jacks as well. Okay. This guy over here is another work in progress, but that's my remote keyer, and that is an ESP32 chip that I key with my paddles. I talk to another ESP32, and the two ESP32s talk to each other, and that's how I'm able to remotely key for CW. That's a whole nother video. Okay, so the Raspberry Pi has USB connector back into the back of the radio. That's standard cat control. The Raspberry Pi also has a USB dongle for sound. There's just a extension there, and the dongle is wrapped up in this mess here, and it goes into this box here which is has another cable coming out the back of that goes into the radio's data port, and the data port on the FT891 is how I'm getting sound into and out of the radio. So when the Pi, I'm using something called Mumble on the Pi. Someone gave me the idea for that. But basically, sound goes in and out of the Pi through the data port on the back of the FT891, and to create that interface, I just ordered off Amazon one of these old PS2 cables, spliced into it, and the only thing inside this little box here, it's way bigger than it needs to be, but are a couple of one-to-one audio transformers. I think they're 600 ohms, just to provide some isolation, supposedly better for noise and stuff. I don't even know if it's really necessary, although it does seem like if you buy a commercial sound interface, they sell them all on eBay and compatible to the FT891. They all seem to have those transformers as well, along with some capacitors and stuff for noise filters. But for me, the transformers seem to be enough. And so you can see microphone and speaker then go into, and again, trust me, it's there, you can't see it in the pile, a USB dongle. And that's pretty much it. I mean, what's my point is that it just takes up, one spot on the back seat, and it's all on this pegboard, so I can just, when I want to work on it inside, I can just pick up the whole pegboard, carry it inside, and do my work, and then bring it back out here, and it just sits in the car. You can bring the radio in at night if you want. Depends on where you live and whether you want to leave radio in your car overnight. That's how it's all set up. So you don't need to do anything fancy. And so I just VNC into that Pi, and even the antenna. It's nothing but a ham stick. There you go. 20-meter ham stick, mag mount, and making voice contacts all over the U.S. Got an S9 report from Wisconsin. I'm down here in South Florida. Had a DX contact with Croatia and CW. So it gets out, and it's easy to do. So, like, if you're me and you're worried about lightning and stuff in South Florida or anywhere else, want to operate remote on days when you can't use your coax that would normally come into the shack, here's an option. If you're in a HOA and have antenna restrictions, but you can get away with having a car parked in your driveway with a big old HF antenna on it, and some of those HF antennas can be smaller with the bigger loading coils, don't have to go so tall. You can do that too. So there you go. And I don't even care that the back seat's messy. So what? It's a hobby. Get it done. There you go. And you can endlessly tweak your HF situation, but I just read up on it. Use the Nano VNA to take a look at the SWR on the ham stick. Get it tuned. I played around with the counterpoise. That didn't seem to make any difference, so I'm going without it for now. And like I say, I do have the antenna tuner, the automatic one that integrates with, it's the MFJ, but it integrates nonetheless with the FT891. So even using FL Rig, I can trigger a tuning, and that will take care of any problems with the ham stick. But I was getting below really about 1.5 all across the section of 20 meters that I care about. I have a 40 meter ham stick on the way, so we'll see how that goes if I can get up on 40. And here's something else I tried. This is one of those Wise cameras, IP based cameras, and I can also plug that into the USB where it is. And actually I want to unplug it because what I was doing, I was setting the camera on here and then seeing the face of the radio. But I found that, just to kind of double check on things. But when I got started, And it's nice to see that the red light actually does go on, and blah blah blah. But it actually chews up power from the battery, and I just it's here if I want it. If I want to use it, I can. I just set it up. Boom. It also gives you a way, just open up the Wise app, and you want to make sure your radio is still there or what's happening inside the car. You can do that. Whatever, it'll work. So what are the next steps on this? I'm gonna probably get a little foldable solar panel to put on top of the car, and a charge controller, so that I can keep the battery charged. Right now I'm coming out every night and pulling the battery back inside to recharge, but with solar I could just leave it out here and let it charge itself. The other thing I want to do is I have that microcontroller and the Raspberry Pi, either of which could easily get temperature data from a cheap sensor, so I could see in real time, well, what's the temperature inside the car, if I have any concerns about heat buildup or whatever. But like I said, I'm usually using this on cloudy, overcast days when I'm worried about rain and stuff, so that by nature is going to keep the temperature down. And I've operated this on some pretty sunny days, hot days, and it's fine. The battery, I did check with Bioenno. They said the battery can withstand that kind of heat. Really, it's just the radio slightly concerned about, but it's been fine. And can always crack a window in the car, and I do have a sunroof that can also crack a little bit, crack the windows and figure out some kind of thing to keep rain out, just keep it cool. Or I've got power, so I could just put extra fans on top of it or whatever. I'll figure something out. But that's it for now. So nothing fancy. Just do it. Just do it. All right. And I can't remember the call sign of all the people that have helped me with the little pieces and stuff that were required to pull this off. But it's definitely a community project. I appreciate all the help I've gotten. All right, 73s from KN4 YRM.